more than 2 million years ago. During the early Pleistocene epoch, Earth's climate entered a harsh and arid cycle. For the small, bipedal beings walking the plains, this new world was both a challenge and an opportunity. In this barren environment, food became a constant obsession. The once abundant fruits of the lush forests had vanished. Life now depended on what the dry ground could offer, fibrous roots buried deep underground, and tiny, scarce seeds. This scarcity of resources shaped the structure of the group. The herd was a single living body, and each individual was an inseparable part of it. The bond among them, especially the care given to the weak, the elderly, and the pregnant, formed the foundation for the complex communities that would evolve later. Environmental pressures forced the brain to evolve. Each day became a survival puzzle demanding a new solution. Relying only on what could be found on the ground was no longer enough. A leap in thinking was needed: observation, reasoning, and planning. To look up at the sky and notice a bird's nest on a cliff was not just a hunt for food, it was an act of imagination, envisioning a precious source of nutrition in an unreachable place. Eggs were a concentrated source of fat, extremely valuable in a world of scarcity. Obtaining them could determine the survival of the entire group, especially for pregnant females who needed twice the nutrition to sustain a new life. The risks were immense. The airborne predators of that era were massive, with wingspans that darkened the ground and talons as sharp as daggers. This was when cooperation reached new heights. It was no longer just about foraging together. It required coordinated planning. Roles had to be divided clearly: the climber, the distractor, the supporter, Gestures and sounds now carried tactical meaning. Climbing the cliff was not only a test of physical endurance, but also proof of mental development. It required fine coordination between hand and eye, calculation of footholds, and above all, the will to overcome fear and pain. The human hand, with its dexterous fingers and precise grip, became the ultimate tool. Meanwhile, the act of distraction below was a sophisticated psychological strategy. It relied on understanding the predator's behavior, how to lure it, provoke it, and keep it at a safe distance. Throwing stones was no longer mere defense. It was the use of an external object to influence a distant target, an early form of weapon use. Trust and sacrifice reached their peak. The climber's life depended entirely on the others. The failure of one meant the failure of all. These perilous hunts and their bonds grew tighter than ever. The early Earth's weather was wildly unstable. Storms could form swiftly and violently, turning a sunny day into hell within hours. Thunder, hail, and gale winds were not mere phenomena, they were deadly forces. For creatures without thick fur or sturdy shelters, a single storm could mean death by hypothermia or flood. The ability to read the terrain, remember safe places, and find them before disaster struck was a sign of growing spatial intelligence. The brain no longer stored only the locations of food, but also of refuge. Giving birth was the most fragile and dangerous moment in a prehistoric female's life. With no assistance or hygiene, everything depended on physical strength and the support of the group. Mortality for both mother and child was extremely high. A misplaced contraction, a wrong fetal position, or exhaustion could end in tragedy. The presence of others during childbirth carried profound meaning. They formed a protective circle, guarding against predators drawn by the scent of blood. They offered emotional support, a reassuring touch that helped the mother endure pain and fear. The experienced elders played a vital role, passing down scarce but precious knowledge of childbirth from generation to generation. newborn's first cry was not only a sound of new life, but a signal to the wild, a faint yet irresistible lure to predators hiding in the dark. From its first breath, the infant's survival depended entirely on the group's protection. This vulnerability forced the group to invest vast amounts of time and energy in care, strengthening social bonds even further. Night belonged to the apex predators. Their superior vision and smell gave them total advantage in darkness. For diurnal beings, nightfall brought fear and helplessness. Sleep was not rest, it was surrender. A strange noise or a new scent could send hearts racing. Constant threat from nocturnal predators became one of the strongest evolutionary pressures. It sharpened the senses, especially hearing, to detect danger from afar. It also forced early humans to choose shelters wisely, not just protection from rain and sun, but defensible positions with narrow entrances. A direct confrontation with a predator like a lion was hopelessly unequal. Physically, humans were inferior. No claws, no fangs, no speed, no strength. Their only advantage lay in the brain, the power to think, cooperate, and use tools. The stone spear was crude, effective only at close range, and demanded tremendous courage to wield. In moments of life and death, the brain could produce breakthroughs. Tying a cord to the spear's shaft was not a premeditated invention, but a desperate improvisation. Yet it changed everything. It marked the birth of a new concept, a ranged weapon that could be retrieved. This invention was monumental. For the first time, humans could strike from a relatively safe distance, reducing casualties. The cord allowed not only retrieval, but also control, pulling, restraining, or deepening wounds. It transformed a single strike into a controlled struggle. This was a leap in cognition, connecting two separate objects, spear and cord, to create a tool with a new function. It also required higher teamwork. This event not only saved the group for one night, but redefined the balance of power between humans and nature. Many intelligent predators possess remarkable memory. They remember faces, places, and pain. A confrontation was never a single event. It could spark a lasting feud. A creature robbed of its young would not easily forgive. Crossing an open plain was the greatest danger. With no cover and no terrain advantage, every being was exposed to the watchful eyes of aerial hunters. It was an ultimate test of awareness and judgment. Every decision, like crossing open ground, was a calculation between needs such as finding water and risk being attacked. When facing an unbeatable enemy, the brain sought other solutions. The idea of covering the body with branches and leaves marked the birth of camouflage. Unlike instinctive color changes in reptiles, this was a conscious act based on observation and reasoning. It reflected deep understanding of the environment and of how predators perceived the world. If I look like a bush, perhaps the hunter won't see me. This concept was revolutionary. It revealed an ability to imagine the world through another's eyes, an early seed of theory of mind. Synchronizing movements, swaying branches in rhythm with the wind, refined the tactic further, blending the group into the landscape. They learned an essential truth. Strength sometimes lies not in confrontation, but in becoming part of nature. This skill not only saved them from attack, but also opened new hunting strategies. By disguising themselves, hunters could approach prey unseen. Defense and offense, once again, were two sides of evolution. The prehistoric night was another world. When the sun fell, control passed to nocturnal hunters, creatures with senses far sharper than any primates. Their eyes glowed in darkness, and even a faint scent of flesh was enough to guide them. The most dangerous of them were the ancient hyenas, larger than humans, with jaws strong enough to crush bone, hunting in perfectly coordinated packs. They didn't need speed. They waited, watched, and struck when their prey was weak. Humans of that age were defenseless, no ranged weapons, no permanent shelters. In the dark, the moon gave little light, and the slightest noise could summon death. Hypervigilance became the essence of survival. Every rustle, every snap of a twig triggered primal fear, reflexes that still echo in our subconscious. It was during such nights that an accidental discovery changed human history. When a hand was burned by embers, the pain became revelation, the realization of fire's power. A spark of understanding, fire could warm, cook, and drive away beasts. Hyenas feared the light. Their scavenger instincts made them avoid smoke and heat. Fire thus became the border between light and darkness, survival and extinction. Once humans recognized this, they began to keep the fire, a small act that marked the dawn of civilization. Around the fire, they shared food, told the day's sounds, and comforted the weak. That light bound them together. In evolutionary terms, the moment a human hand reached into the embers was more than a survival reaction. It was the turning point from fear to mastery. For the first time, humanity harnessed nature's power to fight nature itself. Life in the prehistoric world was a chain of crises. Threats rarely came alone. They converged, pushing beings to the brink. For the first time, humans commanded a force greater than themselves. The wall of fire they built at night not only repelled predators, but marked a turning point in evolution, from individual defense to communal protection. Fire became a shared tool. Its heat transformed the human psyche. Once they only ran from fear, now they stood within the circle of light, facing the darkness. The feeling of power, of control, emerged for the first time. Humanity realized it could command what once terrified it. From offering meat to the flames, to drawing circles in ashes, to watching birds in the sky, these were fragments of a dawning sacred consciousness. Humans began to see the world through cause and effect, to understand that actions create change, and change brings consequences. This was the dawn of reflective thought, still intertwined with spiritual intuition. When the sun rose, glinting on the smouldering ashes, they were no longer the same. They were not just tool users, but symbolic beings, with imagination and memory. They had taken the first step on the long road to modern humanity. And when the leader bowed to place a piece of meat upon a stone, and the great bird descended from afar, it was not mere offering, it was humanity's first act of atonement. The moment's survival instinct transformed into awareness of life and death.